So, in short, my peptide journey started almost 9 months ago when I was working with a coach who was trying to get me to follow a keto diet. And I was pushing against her, like, oh, I just can't do it. I'm just hungry all the time. I just want sweets. And finally, she's like, Jennifer, I feel like your issue might be a little bit deeper. So maybe you want to do a trial of a GLP-1 compounded with a GIP. We did have a discussion that, my really like my childhood issue of bulimia was coming up again. I thought the more I restrict my diet, the more I am, apt to have these binging and purging desires. And I don't want those. Like through my FDN lifestyle, those are pretty much well controlled. Through cutting out alcohol, they're pretty much well controlled. But I was starting to get this, just this thought process of this happening again. I was like, I don't want to go down that path. And so my coach Sonia said, Jennifer, this has been very helpful for me with regard to food noise and that constant thinking about food. She said, you might be a good candidate. And I thought, no way, I'm not cheating. I'm not doing peptides. Like, how dare you ask me? Like, I do it all naturally. And then the more I thought about it, and the more I was struggling with these like mental and physical urges, the more I thought maybe I could be more open minded. And as a, researcher and clinician, I mean, I'm a big nerd, my master's in integrative nutrition. Give me a good research paper any day of the week. So I started diving into the literature and seeing, not only was this class of peptides, have some pretty amazing longevity. I mean, people have been using particularly GLP-1 since, the 1980s, but they're very effective for not just weight loss and food noise, but a whole host of other issues like inflammation, gut health, mental and physical cravings, not just regarding food, that my world started to open up and I became more open-minded to the idea of, maybe I couldn't do it all by myself 100% naturally. Maybe there was a little bit of help there for me and I had to be humble enough to accept it. And once I started, my peptide journey and I was like, okay, let's do it. I felt very supported with my coach and very, very confident in the literature. And almost immediately I started feeling better. I did start my peptide journey with a GLP-1, GIP. We could talk about what that means. But since then, over the last 9 months, now my stack has evolved to, 4 peptides a week. I'll say it's not cheap, but it's very effective. And I'm feeling better than I felt in my 20s or 30s. So I'm just excited to get to talk about it because I feel like other women can have a very similar experience and that can be encouraging, especially in midlife.